Have you ever looked at your paycheck, seen a pretty good number, but then looked at your bank account and just wondered, where did it all go? Well, if you're living on your own, I'm here to tell you you're not imagining things. We're about to pull back the curtain on this powerful, often invisible financial force that's affecting millions of single professionals out there. This quote right here, it really gets to the heart of the matter. Just think about it for a second. The classic American dream, the house, the car, a comfortable life, it was all pretty much built around the model of a two-person household, often with two incomes. So when you're trying to navigate that system all by yourself, you're basically flying into financial headwinds that couples just don't have to deal with. So let's try and put a real number on that feeling of being financially squeezed, even when you feel like you're doing everything right. What is the actual bottom line cost of being single in today's economy? There it is, $10,000. On average, that's how much extra it can cost you per year just for being single. That's not a small rounding error, folks. That's a dream vacation. That's a huge boost to your retirement savings or a down payment on a car. Gone. And that's every single year.
Okay, so let's dig into this phenomenon. We're going to call it the solo squeeze. It's that all too common paradox of earning what should be a comfortable salary, but still feeling like you're just barely treading water financially.
And this is a perfect example of what I'm talking about. On one hand, you have a single person trying to cover all of life's biggest expenses. We're talking housing, transportation, utilities, all on their own. On the other hand, you have a couple that gets to split those exact same costs. So even if their individual paychecks are smaller, their combined financial power and that ability to share expenses means they end up with way more disposable income at the end of the month.
This feeling, this built-in financial disadvantage, it actually has a name. And giving it a name is the first step to realizing, hey, this isn't just you. This is a systemic thing.
And just to be super clear, you're not going to find a line item for a singles tax on your tax return. It's not a literal tax. It's really the sum of all the extra costs you end up paying for housing, for insurance, for everyday stuff, simply because you don't have a partner to split the bills with. It's a penalty that's woven right into the fabric of our economy.
And this right here might be the most important takeaway of all. If you're single and you're struggling with money, it is not because you're bad with money. You're playing the same game as everyone else, but you've been handed a pretty significant handicap. Recognizing that fact can shift your whole perspective from self-blame to, okay, how do I solve this problem? So where in the world does that extra 10 grand a year actually go? Let's get into it and break down the brutal math behind this so-called singles tax. All right, first up, the biggest one by far, housing. As a single renter, you are covering 100% of that cost. All of it. A couple, though, they can split the rent on a similar or maybe even a bigger place, which means they're each paying way less for their own personal space than a single person is.
And then there's this thing called economies of scale, or for singles, the lack of them. A couple shares one internet bill, right? One Netflix account, one set of utility costs. They can buy their groceries in bulk, which is almost always cheaper. But a single person, you're paying for all of that stuff on your own. As you can see, the per-person cost for just basic household expenses is dramatically higher. And the hidden costs just keep piling on. Car and health insurance? Yeah, premiums can be higher. Groceries? Buying for one can often lead to more food waste, which is just money in the trash. Household goods? You're buying that entire vacuum cleaner yourself, not splitting the cost. Individually, these things might seem small, but believe me, they add up fast.
So, if the game feels rigged, how do you change the way you play? Well, a really innovative new playbook is starting to emerge for single people who want to fight back against this singles tax.
It's a concept called the shadow household. And it's a pretty fascinating idea. It's all about intentionally forming a financial alliance with people you trust, your friends, your siblings, your cousins, to basically mimic the economic advantages that couples get, but, without the romantic relationship part. So how does this actually work in practice? Well, it kind of breaks down into 3 simple steps. First, you form your financial team. These have to be people you trust implicitly. Second, you execute a major joint purchase together, something like a duplex or a co-op. And third, you create those shared benefits. You split the mortgage, you share utilities, and most importantly, you build equity together instead of trying to do it all alone. And what's really cool is how flexible the strategy is. It could mean formally co-owning a property, sure, but it could also be something more informal, like geographic arbitrage. Imagine a group of friends who all have remote jobs. They could strategically move to a lower cost city to pool their resources, slash their expenses, and build wealth together. The key here really is creativity.
Which, of course, brings us all the way back to our opening metaphor. As more and more people choose to live single, whether it's for longer or for good, this shadow household idea might just be a really clever hack. But it also makes you wonder about something much bigger. Instead of just creating these clever workarounds, maybe it's time we fundamentally redesign our financial systems to actually support the solo flyer.